afternoon, YouTube. Back outside on my back porch. Here in New England, lovely, rainy, nasty day. Well, I'm going to talk to you this time about, well, in the words of another one of my favorite channels, Hiram Cook, graham weenies. It's the best term I've ever heard for it. Only in this case, we're not talking about people who are worried about the weight of their backpack. This time we are going to talk about people who... Oh, boo-hoo, you hurt my feelings. Okay. For those of you who don't speak Apache, don't understand any of the Apache language, I'm called Prepper Embarado for a reason. Y'all know what a prepper is, and I've been one for 6 decades. But do you know what an embarado is? Obviously not. Embarado is the Apache word for bad temper. This is a name that was hung on me by my daughter almost 3 decades ago when she was 3 years old. She was watching a TV show called Hondo of the Apaches. Now, Hondo is a creation of a fiction writer, but he is based on about 6 real-life characters in history. And in the process, he tells a whole bunch of real-life stories. Case in point, Hondo, known as embarado. It is, in fact, an Apache word. It, in fact, means bad temper. And the real-life character, who was originally known as embarado to the Apaches, was, in fact, married to Ustardi, princess of the tribe. Though I'm not sure Ustardi was her real name, but close enough for the moment. He was married to the Apache princess, the daughter of the chieftain. And whilst he was away from the village hunting, an opposing tribe raided the village, and we'll call her Ustardi for the moment, was killed. And as a result, this character, this real-life character, became very sullen and hard to live with. And the Apache took to calling him embarado. Well, my daughter hung that on me, and I have tried my greatest to control my temper. See, I am what you call a Heinz 57. Part European heritage, most Native American heritage. Part of that's Irish, part of that is 3 of the Sioux tribes, part of it is Cherokee, part of it is Apache and Comanche. Yeah. So I mean it when I say Heinz 57. I'm not kidding. But as a result of having all those different Native American heritages and the Irish heritage, I have a wicked, nasty temper. I know it. I do all I can to control it. I try not to let it show. As most of my video will show you, I do control my temper for the most part. But when somebody says or does something that's incredibly stupid, I'm going to tell them so. I don't do politically correct, and I don't worry about hurting feelings. Because let's get it clear, folks. There are a lot of young people who don't know diddly-doo-dah. I call them heads full of mush. That's not a put down to them. They're a head full of mush because they've not had enough time in life for their gray matter to firm up yet. That watch these videos, they don't subscribe, but they're watching. They're learning. And when you say or do something that's incredibly dumb or stupid, that could possibly cause them to try what you're saying or doing and getting hurt, and I know that what you're doing or saying could get somebody hurt, I'm going to say something. Case in point, this gent from Great Britain was showing his preps. And I tried to explain to him why that's not a good idea. You see, when you put out a video like this video, within 5 miles of where you're standing at home, there's probably 1% of the population are preppers like you. The rest of them are ostriches. They have their heads in the sand. They don't want to know from Adam. Well, when that SHTF occurs, and I'll do another video to explain why I'm telling you that it's already hit. When it hits, and there's no groceries in the store for them to buy, and they're hungry, somebody's going to remember, hey, Johnny a mile over has got a basement full of rice and beans and this and that and the other thing. I'm hungry, Martha. Get my gun. We're going shopping. And guess where they're coming to shop? At the Mart of Johnny. They're going to take your preps. And if you're very unlucky, they're going to take your life and maybe the life of your family. Don't show your preps on TV. Don't show your preps on YouTube. Show how you store grain for long-term storage by sealing it up in Mylar bags and buckets. Great. Now you're educating, showing how to. But keep your preps off-site, away from where you live, in a secure location. A location you can get to get in short order, within between half an hour and 2 hours travel time. But where people can't find it. You see, this way, your preps are safe, and if somebody comes knocking on the door and sticks a shotgun in your face and says, "Where's your preps?" you say, "What preps? Go ahead and search. There's nothing here to be had." Well, 99% of them are going to take a look around. There's nothing to be had. They're going to turn around and leave. It's that 1% of those who haven't prepped that are going to remember seeing you on video saying, "Oh, I've got all these preps. Look at here. I've got enough food for 10 people for 10 years. And they're going to torture the answer out of you as to where your preps are. And this is why you should never put it on video. Then there's the other side of that coin. You have people who show off their weapons. They got a safe full of guns or 2 safes full of guns. Bad idea. Not to have that many guns. No. That's a good idea. But to show them off on the tube. I don't care if we're talking about TV or YouTube. It don't matter. You just bought a Mosin Nagant and you are restoring it and you're showing how to restore it. Okay, that's a good thing. You're teaching again. But to show that you've got a safe full of 50 Mosin Nagants and enough ammo to keep them fed in World War III for a month, not good. Because when the government decides to outlaw firearms, you've put up a video showing you own X number of this and Y number of that, and you got all the ammo to feed them. They're coming to your door first because they've got prima facie evidence that you have. And you shouldn't, because they've just passed an ordinance saying, can't have guns no more. Second Amendment don't count no more. Well, like a lot of people have named folks as kooks that say it, and I'm not afraid of having that label put on me. They'll get my gun when they pry it from my cold dead hand, and not before. My advice is, where you reside, you keep a couple, 2 or 3 weapons that if somebody stole them, it really wouldn't hurt your feelings terribly. I mean, yeah, you'd be out, a $100 handgun or a $100 shotgun. But you don't keep your good weapons right there under your toes, because they're too close, and the military and the cops and the government, when they come searching, are going to tear your place apart to find them. They're going to use metal detectors to find them. So if they're stored in the floorboards, they're going to be found. You need to have them cached off-site where the government can't find them. Okay? Possibilities for how to store guns off-site. Tax sale of an acre of land that is unimproved. You do nothing to improve it, except you cache your weapons in underground cache vaults. And don't buy the property in your own name. Buy it in the name of your kid, or your cousin, or some literary character. As long as it isn't in your proper name, it'll be much, much more difficult for the government to associate it to you and then go hunt and search that property to find your weapons. Or you could trust to luck and you could drop your cache underground somewhere in a state forest or federal forest. Possible it'll still be there when you go back for it, if you're real careful about security when you go to put the cache in, and real careful about security as you go in and out of the site to check on it from time to time. But guess what, folks? I've seen people go into federal forests to dig a bunker and find caches of, oh, you name it, food, money, guns. Found one myself not that long ago. I was in a federal forest, which will be unnamed, and I was digging a hole to build myself a spider hole. A bug out site for just me. And as I'm digging, what do I find? I find a 6-inch PVC pipe, 6 feet long, buried in the horizontal position. Glued right tight shut. It was a Schedule 80 pipe. I had a heck of a time getting the cap off of it. You want to know what I found inside of it? Gold and silver coins, Mosin Nagant, 6 different handguns, some clothes in a backpack, somebody's backup bug out equipment. Right next to it was dug in a 5-gallon bucket, and turned out that was full of food. Well, let me tell you, I abandoned the site as my spider hole, and I took the caches with me and I put them in my new site. There was no name on it, no way of knowing who it belonged to, no idea how long it had been buried there. Mine now. My point is, you have to watch out what you're doing, and you got to use something called critical thinking. Something that ain't used enough in this country anymore. Now then, I'm simply going to say, peace out.